Okay, there we go. Now is it working? Looks like I have one viewer, but I still don't see my stream anywhere. Yeah. Is anybody there? Can you guys hear me? Alright, there we go. Okay. That should work. I'm still not seeing the live stream on my channel though, which is weird. Does that link work? Alright, the link works. This is so annoying. Okay, well, I guess I just have to kind of continue here. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'm just kind of messing around with some personal stuff here today. I'll show you what it is in just a second here. Gosh, that's really gonna bug me. Can't see your chat. Also gonna bug me that it's not showing up on my channel. Nope, there it is. Oh, it's unlisted? What the heck? How did it get unlisted? The answer? No. Dave. Enable DVR, auto stop, auto start, 360. How did my live stream get unlisted? And I just end the live stream now. Forgot to right click. Of course I did. No, okay, good. Hey there, Aniki, how are you? So for some reason, my live stream is showing up as being unlisted, which is really, really weird. So if I go to YouTube Studio, I wonder if I can change it and make it public. I wonder if this is because my last couple live streams, I had music I wasn't supposed to have. I was a bad kid. Okay. Does that make it so that everybody can see it now? Not yet. No, it's still private. Public. Publish. Okay. Awesome. I check out. Okay, there we go. Now it's there. That was weird. Never had that happen before. Okay. Well,
Never had that happen before.
Okay. Let me turn my volume down here. All right, so here we go. Cool. Let's get out of everything here that I don't need to look at. If the music's too loud, just let me know. So what I'm working on right now is I have just this really, really simple scene with the 3D sprite, and I'm working on getting the animation to work like it's supposed to. And rather than coding all the animation, I wanted to try and use an animation tree. So an animation tree hooks up to an animation player and can tell the animation player what to play. It essentially acts as a state machine. In fact, when you create your animation tree, you choose what kind of root you want it to have. And it can be animation, it can be blend space, it can be a blend tree, it can be a state machine, which is what I chose. And then inside the state machine, you can create substates. So if you go to the plus, click, you can add a new state machine inside of that, which is what I did. So now I have an idle state machine with 4 idle animations. Root node, I have a walking, and I haven't added the walk animations yet. So we'll add walk backward, walk forward, left, right. And this is automatically one thing I like more about this than the Unity one, is you can get things to snap nicely. On the Unity one, I don't know how many times I've had it so that if it lines up with one thing, it doesn't line up with another thing. So, all right, so I've got those set up, but I was kind of investigating in the Godot documentation how to, I know how to travel from one state to another state. You can just call the state machine and then whatever .travel. But I wanted to travel to the substate and then to the correct animation within the substate. So I have the docs up here, and I've just kind of been going through them. All right. Thanks, Thecator. Thanks, I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. All right, so animation tree. Blend tree. Blend trees have this weird output node though, so I don't want to mess around with that just yet because I'm not quite sure how to use that. In blend 3, that makes sense. 2D blend space makes sense as well, because that looks like it's just like Unity's. So it's this one, the state machine. Root nodes can be created and connected via lines. States are connected via transitions. which are connections with special properties. Transitions are unidirectional, but two can be used to connect in both ways. So immediate sync, seek the new state to the playback position of the old state. At end, so transitions have a few properties. Click any transition, it will be displayed in the inspector. Oh, okay, so there's an advanced condition that you can add. Custom text field can be filled with a variable name. The variable can be modified from code. Okay, that makes sense. So then what I want is here to here, I want this transition to have an advanced condition of moving. We'll have an advanced condition of, I can do not moving. Okay, Michael says, finally caught a stream after watching so many of your videos. Thanks. At the moment today, I am messing around with the animation tree node. It's something I haven't messed around with in Godot before. And if I get that done, I might mess around a little bit with themes, which I haven't done enough with. Ethan Shin says, hello, big fan. Thanks, that's awesome. Aiden Khan says, the legend's back with Godot, keep it up. Game Endeavor, how are you doing? Thon says, please Unity tutorials. I'm still making Unity tutorials. Ethan Shin, can I get a mention from your honor? You have gotten a mention, Ethan Shin. Alright, so I'm going to transfer from here to here if it's moving, and from here to here if it's idle. I wonder if I can just do not moving, or just put moving as the advanced condition and check for the negation. Turn on auto events when this condition is set. Yeah, it becomes a Boolean parameter. Okay, so then I'm going to call this moving. That way I can check for its negation. The animation tree root state machine. Well, can I just do not moving then? I don't think it's going to like that, but I'll do that. Back to the docs for a second. So I get what switch mode is. It's immediate, sync, or at end. Advanced condition is the condition for it to advance. You can crossfade between the two states. You can use the priority. And this is part of the A-star algorithm they use. I don't need to worry about root motion because it's 3D, but it's really 2D. Alright, so controlling from code. So advanced. Okay. One of the nice features in Godot's hashtag kid says hi. Hello hashtag kids, how are you? Thanks for watching my videos. One of the nice features in Godot's state machine implementation is the ability to travel. The graph can be instructed to go from current state to another one while visiting the and using A-star. So that's what that priority is for, is to kind of give a cost almost, or it sounds like it's the inverse of the cost, but travel ability, you should first retrieve the animation node state machine playback object from the animation tree. So let's do that really quickly before we go too far. Let's do call this anim state. So, but I want to get the parameters. So let's call this anim tree then, instead of anim state. And then anim state will be the parameter from that. Anim tree. Those parameters on what? State machine playback. good to hear. Hashtag kids, thank you very much. State machines in Pascal case, but playback isn't. That's weird. Probably because it's a class. Can be used by calling one of many functions. So state machine.travel some state. Well, let's try this without trying to do substates first then. Let me actually delete these. The animations. It's kind of already a mess, and I don't want to make... Adrian says, greetings teacher, what are we doing today? Today I'm working on a personal project. It's a little 2D sprite in a 3D world. At the moment I am setting up the animation, and I wanted to try playing around with Godot's animation tree node. At the moment I'm finding it a little confusing. I think the substates are better. But what if I just do it as a blend tree then? And then in the blend tree, we can add up to the output. And then for the animation, we'll have these just be the idles. Phoenix Studio says, hey, how are you? So does the output then move it back up? This is what you guys don't see in my videos, is how much time I spend just doing this, talking to myself. Let's call this idle. Create another. The difference space. So in the blend space, X and Y. I want to add a point. Oh, that sets the blending position. Okay, so instead I did want to add like an animation. Backwards. Actually, that should be... Okay. Super interesting, I know. Just do the four corners then. Let's do... idle backward. Idle forward. Okay, so this is the blend space 2D. This is really going to be the idle. And then I'll delete this one. All this walking. Here I'll do the same thing. This is going to be walk left, right, backward, forward. All right, so I've got my two blend spaces here, and now I want to, should just be idle. It renamed it because I had two idles on screen. This will be the automatic one. And then we'll make a transition from here to here, and another transition in the other direction. Move condition for this one is going to be moving. Move condition for this one is going to be idle. And then I should be able to just set the blend tree parameters in here. These around too? Yeah, I can. Cool. So then, how would I do that in here? Could say if temp move dot. I'm already doing that, and I'm doing the state machine. So then I can also do animtree dot set wonder where so we've got animation tree root, get root motion, rename parameter. I also want to look at, hello Ben, how are you? So is there an API I can look at for the blend space 2D? I just want to set parameter. Look at the API for the state machine then. Playback. So we can do travel path playing stop travel. Blend space. Good to hear, Ben. Okay, so here we go. Set blend point position. Changes the animation node reference by the point index at point. Oh, there we go. Updates the position of the point at index point on the blend axis. Right, I'm gonna have to mess with this later. For now, I'm gonna activate the animation tree, and I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I was hoping to have an easier way to do this. So right now I'm processing the input by creating a temporary vector. That way I can use the gamepad and the keyboard. And this temporary vector is coming from the action strength, so it works with the analog control stick instead of just input.getAction. I'm doing right minus left and then down minus up, and that gives me an x and y vector. But I then change that to, instead of being x and y, because y is up and down in 3D space, it's x and z, because z is forward and backward. So I'm turning that into a three-dimensional vector, and then I'm using that for the movement, because I'm using a kinematic body for this. And then after I'm going to do that, I'm going to process the state, which is just going to set if I'm moving or idle. And then after I process the state, I'm going to process the animation. And for processing the animation, I have a my character script, I have a play anim that will just play an animation, but it will only do that if it's not playing that animation already, so it's not constantly interrupting the animation. So now, back on my player here, I want to say, let's add a variable here for moving. Moving is false, and then if we're moving, I'm going to set moving to true. Andrea from Tokyo says, hello there. First of all, thank you for all the good content you take the time to create. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy. Moving is true. Then we need to be in one of the walks. So I want to actually let's just use the arctangent. But I can use this. Hello Saint, how are you? Andrea says, next I was reading that the condition parameter sets the animation to auto advance. So it should just be the case of setting the condition you just created for each blend. So you're saying to set moving or set idle, so that way I can't do the negation like I was expecting to. But you were saying that I don't need to, but then setting the condition was what I was struggling with there. And then I also, on top of setting the condition, I need to be able to set the blend weights. So if we're looking in here, the two things that I would normally do, and I know how to do this in Unity, is I would grab the anim.set parameter, and the parameter is something I could set globally throughout everything, and then I can use that parameter in the substate. Like here, instead of this being x and y, I could change this to be move x and move y. And I'm looking for something like that, and I know I'm probably not going to get it, which is fine. I mean, oh hey, wait a minute, okay. So conditions, so we got idle moving, blend position. So this is all part of, oh, okay. So I can grab these parameters then. Delete this. So what is your name? Going to tell me your name? Parameters / condition / idle. Okay, cool. So then I want to do anim state. So, okay, it's parameters / condition / idle. It's the property, and then this is parameters conditions moving. This parameters idle blend position. Andrea says, I think it's more like condition equals true false, and then true and the same in Unreal 2. Okay, and then Andrea from Tokyo says yes. And then St. Mixon says, been doing your Zelda-like tutorial and loving it so far. Learning so much about Unity and C#, much appreciated. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So then how do I get the, so I have this reference to the parameters here. Let me actually make sure, first of all, let's turn the animation tree off. Yeah, it's not active. And just make sure it works. Okay, cool. So this reference isn't correct then. So what if I just set this to be I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. And then let's try the testbed level again. Date. Oh, ha. Don't need that. Weird. It's done that to me a few times recently. Okay. Alright, so I don't think I need this moving variable then, if that's a variable that's already going to be tracked by the animation state machine. So I have my animation tree. Oh, okay. Andrea says try anim state dot condition idle. I wonder if I can just do it from anim tree though, because it's one of their conditions. In the anim tree here, got parameters. So I wonder if I can just reference the anim tree's parameters directly. So I can rename the parameter. ASAP, Mr. Taft, thank you. You're welcome. Convert can process. Connect with K emit signal. Rename parameter. It's so weird that that would be easy to find. Oh, can I just do set? So I want to set moving true. And then set false. Well, but then do I need the two different parameters? Do I need moving and idle? Because can I just do it this way? So like here to here, condition is moving. Hey there, Anthro, how are you? And then from here to here, I can just make the condition moving as well. First, let's make sure that doesn't break anything. Okay, cool. Nothing, well, my animation tree isn't active, so it won't break anything, but okay, nothing's broken. Good. So back here, I've almost got it. I know this is not really thrilling content, but I've almost got it now. So set moving true, set moving false. I want to then hi girl. Hi there. Not a live stream without a Yoda photobomb. So I want to do tree.set. Now I need to give it property and the value. I'm just going to put a 0 there just for now. We don't have that red line. So if I look at my animation tree, blend position I want to set is, so can I do idle slash blend position? Or do I have to do parameters slash idle? So then should this be parameters slash condition slash moving? Try that. Hi. I know. so save that. And test bed really quickly. She knocked over my tablet, so let me see if there are any. What are my PC specs? Incredibly old. I have an Intel Core i7 that's like generation 3, and I have a GTX 970. So make another variable for the conditions. Animation tree.get parameters maybe. That's a good idea. Andrea from Tokyo. So okay, let's go back to the player. Wait, so 1 second. I just wanted to moving. Let's print this. I just want to see what I get if I just do this. YZTV says, hello, sir. Swinging by for the first time. Just want to say I love your content. I've learned a ton from it. Thank you very much. Does that PC render everything well? As far as streams go, it's my internet. That's the bigger issue. My internet's not great. So even though I have it on like ultra low latency, streaming isn't fantastic. What was I doing? Okay. So I'm going to get a ton of stuff spammed in here, I think. Okay. So that means it's not getting that parameter then. So I'm going to get rid of this for just a second. I know, girl. I'm using my hands to not pet her, and she's very distressed by that. So this should at least render as false because it's a Boolean value. So instead of rendering as null, I should get false. Yeah, okay. So Andrea was right. It's the parameters conditions moving. So let's do entry.set parameter anim conditions moving, or parameters conditions moving true. And we'll set it to false in the other one. And then, yes, I know. I can say, I can tell the state machine to travel. Let's also set using that temp vector I have. So I'm going to make this just be temp move instead of creating another vector. That way I don't have to have another vector for the facing direction. Oh, but I can't do that because, well, yes I can. I just have to change it to a vector 3 in the base character class. There we go. And then, hi. So we'll do animtree.set parameters slash idle slash blend x. Blend position dot x. Blend position to So then I want to see if this is going to work like I expect it to, so I'm just going to use a quick print statement. Oh, I'm going to save this. All right. Let's look at chat here really quickly. Andrea, you are very much being a help. Thank you very much. Wise says, ooh, you're doing pixel art in 3D. I am. It's placeholder art, but my idea is to do something Paper Mario-esque. I want to see how that's going to look. I tried it in Unity, and I got something that looked pretty good, but I'm kind of bumping my head against a few of the ways that Unity does things. So I wanted to test it out here. Hey, stop. Okay, so we're getting back null. Not good. Okay, so if we're getting null back, that means it doesn't know what the value there is, even though I just tried to set it a second before. Stop. Stop, stop. I'm setting it the line above. Octopath Traveler does almost the exact same thing. There's a bunch of games right now that are kind of being inspired by that that style of 2D and 3D. So yeah. So this is a vector 2 here. Oh no, you're right. It should. Thank you. I just copy and pasted and then didn't follow through. Probably because my little helper here was distracting me a bit. Oh, go bother your brother. All right, back to what I was doing. So what's bothering me most right now is that the print isn't printing the conditions. I wonder if I did the condition wrong. So parameters /idle /blend _ position. Oh, it's just parameters /idle /blend position. That's why. Okay. Good Lord. Yoda. Girl. Alright, so let's see if this returns vectors like I'm hoping it will. Nope, still null. Parameters /idle /blend position. You don't need to mess with that. Did I misspell it? Parameters idle blend position. This is one of those things that's especially frustrating because I've made this before. I've used something just like this before. And so trying to figure out, like, what are your secrets? Ben Stanley asks, am I using Sprite 3D? I am, but I'm using it with a custom material. And there's really no difference for me to use Sprite 3D versus, I'm pretty sure I could also use a like a quad. It's just I don't know if the animation properties are set up like they are on a quad, like they are for a Sprite 3D. I'm setting the X and Z so that it's moving forward and backward, but I didn't think I was doing that with the animation tree. So yeah, I'm setting it as a vector 2, so this is going to be the X, and then the Z from temp move will be the Y. So, okay. Parameters, idle, blend position. Yeah. Okay, let's go back and look at the anim tree again. You are going to get sent upstairs. so yeah, she's not like this unless I'm speaking. If I were being quiet right now, she wouldn't want anything to do with me. It's because I'm speaking, and she knows I'm doing something with my hands that isn't petting her. So actually look at the API, not the active anim player. What is this inheriting from then? It's just inheriting from Node. If it's just inheriting from Node, then why are we able to do so many different things to it? It's like my kids. All right, so let's see. All right, I'm going to put this back on hold just so I can get something to actually be working, so I can feel like I did something here. I'm going to come back to this though, but for now I'm putting it on hold. So I'm just going to comment out these lines. And then I'm going to have process anim take in a vector2, which I'm going to have that be vector2. And then so then this is going to use, wait, no, because I want, if temp move changes, then I want to use that for what we're doing, but if it doesn't, then I don't. So let's do this anim, and we temp move here. Oh, because it's a vector 3. Okay, well then I'm not even going to use temp move, and I'll just remove that as a condition. I was going more for Paper Mario, Ben. Paper Mario or Octopath Traveler. Your kids only want attention when you start a Zoom. I get that. Obviously, it's not the same with a needy cat, but so if I'm processing my anim, I want to go back to that extra variable I had, which is whether or not we were moving. Bar moving, false. Bar, I'm just going to call this facing direction 2. And then if we're moving, set my, before I process the animation, facing direction equals vector2, move.x, move.z, and then here I'm not going to change the facing direction. I'm going to leave it alone and just go to process anim. That way I don't have to have like a bunch of different vector variables. More third person than first person. Yep, that's my plan. Okay, so process anim, and then in process anim, I want to say if, did I call it is moving? No, I just called it moving. Moving, else. So if we're moving, I want to parse out which direction we're facing. So I'm going to make a separate function for that. So function return direction. And this is going to take in a vector2 to check. And then I'm just going to use the arctangent. Array is equal to 8tan 2 to check I over expression to check.x, and I want to do rad to degrees on this. And if I remember correctly, this goes 0 to 180 and 0 to negative 180. So temp is, say if temp is less than negative 45, or temp is, no, greater than negative 45. Yeah, greater than or equal to negative 45, or temp is less than positive 45, return dot left. And then if temp is 5, 5, vector 2 dot up. If temp is greater than or equal to 135, or this one can be an and. Less than negative 135. Vector 2 dot, this one is supposed to be left. Yeah, supposed to be right. Alright, and then the last one, turn 2 dot down. So what I want to do is check to see which direction we're moving. So I'm going to say if turn direction, and I'm going to pass in facing direction 2 dot right. Then I want to play the animation for walking right. So I want to, I already have that set up. Yeah, play anim. So. Right. I think that's the right name for it. Not walking, it's walk. Alright, and then let's repeat this condition a few times. I know I could parse this since I'm just using a string, but I know I'm going to be using an animation tree later because the animations are going to get more complex. So this is just for now. So this is going to be left, down, forward. And then I'm going to copy all of this for idle. This is going to be idle right. Okay, so Alienator 5000 says the game like Zelda series was awesome. I didn't finish all the way though yet, but you do show how to use this on mobile phone. I have a video that's on my Patreon right now that shows how to use a virtual joystick with that project. Yeah. Rathan says, "Sir, please build a long third-person adventure game in Unity." There's a lot of plasticity to exactly what that is. What exactly do you think a third-person adventure game is? Because technically, like the Telltale games are third-person adventure games. Technically, so is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. kind of a lot of plasticity to that. I do not like this. This is way too... Okay, so on character, I have to move the animation player to... I put it inside of a child node called graphics. So this needs to be at graphics/animation player. Now let's make sure my animations work like they're supposed to. Aha, of course they don't. Awesome. Okay, so let's get these set up then. So for idle backwards, looking at frame 4, and this will just be a 1-frame animation. Forward, we're looking at frame 0, I'm pretty sure. Also a 1-second animation. Idle left, hi again, girl. So let's do idle left as, that's right, there's left. 12. There. And then we'll go to right, which I'm pretty sure is frame 8. So the idles. Okay, so at least remembered the length I wanted it. Should update the Patreon link. Is the Patreon link not showing on screen anymore? Yeah. Okay, Alienator says, okay, thank you. Wise TV says that's a lot of if conditions. It is. I don't like it. I don't want to use it. I want to use the state machine instead. But this is just so I can feel like I actually got something done and didn't just stare at code for an hour. Ben says, I can't wait for Godot 4.0. It looks great. By the way, Alienator, I'll try to go through. I have like 300 videos, so going through and updating the link on all of those is kind of a bit of a time commitment. But I'll try to do that. Ben Stanley, mostly because of occlusion culling in the new GI system. Yeah, it's using Vulkan looks really, really cool. In the description of my videos. Yeah, I mean, one day when I have a bunch of free time, I'll go back through and change the description in like all 300 of my videos. But anyway, okay. So walk backward. I want to start with frame 4. Go to frame 5. 7. This should be a looping animation. All right, cool. Here's walk backwards. Forward starts at frame 0. Create, and then frame 1, 2, 3. Left starts at frame 12, I think. Yep. Forward a little bit, 13, 14, 15. Last but not least, walk right, frame 8. The live stream description. Okay, let me change that. So yep, you're right. Thank you for pointing that out, Alienator 5000. All right, so now that's right. Cool. Now, let's see if I broke everything here. Oh, I did. All right. Is playing expected 0 arguments. So let's do it if it's I I check the current animation. Okay, how do I check the animation's current animation? Yeah, it's current animation. Okay. So, dot. Current animation equals new anim. Where'd you find that at, Andrea? Andrea says the correct syntax is anim tree, and then parameters conditions moving, and then true false. Where did you find that at? Was it on that page I was looking at and I just was too impatient to correctly read it? Okay, so left and right, but I'm not getting any movement. And then up and down are reversed. All right. Go back to our player here. Playing the idle animation is just fine, but it's not playing the... So, return direction, facing direction, vector 2 dot right. So I need to switch the up and down. So this should be forward and that should be backwards. Oh, well, thank you. I know Heartbeast did a video about it. I haven't had time to watch his yet, and I didn't want to watch it during the stream because that seems kind of like cheating to steal any input away from him. But I know Heartbeast did one. Okay, so the idols are working. Get the movement to work as well. So, oh, I didn't set the moving to be true or false. True and moving equals false. Andrea says if you search using Godot State Machine Advanced Conditions, it's the first one on the list. Ben's is? Or the video that you watched is? Or I mean, not Heartbeast is what he goes by. Well, I mean, I just don't want to take views away from him. Guy's a good dude. All right, cool. So that's working. All right. Okay, so now I have this emote bubble that I was working on, and I got it set up, but I didn't do anything really with it. So what this is made out of is there is a spatial node, that's the root. We have an area node, which has a collision shape attached to it, and I just used a box. Box probably needs to move up a bit. There we go. And then I also have the bubble itself and an animation player for it. So when it turns on, full animation. Show you that again, just so you guys can see it. It starts out a little transparent and then kind of bounces into existence. It could be a little snappier, but I think it's okay for now. So I have inside here emote bubble animation player, which is an animation. Yep, that's set up right. And then I have the sprite itself, and then whether or not it's active. So in the ready function, I'm hiding the sprite. So the sprite is there kind of by default, but then as soon as I hit play, it's going to go away. And then when I activate the emote question, it's going to do sprite.show. So what I want to do is create another scene. I'm going to call this one like a sign. I'm going to add a... We want to check really quickly here. I have some 3D Kenny models that I might want to grab. Nature Pack, I think, has a sign in it somewhere. It doesn't have to be a sign, it just has to be something. Try and bring in the campfire here then. Right, so I need the material for it as well. I don't think this is going to import, but I'll try. Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll make a new material for it really quickly here. So we'll add a mesh instance. Mesh is going to be the campfire object. It's a bit bigger. Let's go with like 2 by 2 by 2. Cool, and let's give this, if you have a mesh instance, if you just click the mesh button, you can automatically turn it into a static body, and it does all the stuff you need for it, right there. And let's give this mesh a material. Oh, he's got it segmented so that there's different materials. So, new spatial material. And then I'll save this as a resource. Assets here. Call this. And then I'm just gonna call this like fire material. There we go. Now I'm just gonna load it onto each of these. Nope, not new. This is a little annoying, but I know that there's a better solution. I could have just imported the .dae but this is just for testing purposes. All right, cool. Now, this is also going to get an area 2D node for its like detection area. I'm going to get a collision shape. Box shape. I'm going to make this pretty big here. Let's actually move this mesh instance centered. Collision shape 3, 2, 3. Area itself up. I'm going to put this into a group. Area node groups. I'm going to call this... Hello, I still don't know how to say that. Orski? Sorry. Hello, Orski, how are you? Use a lowercase question. And then let's save this scene. source. Call this objects. And it's not a sign, it's a fire, but now let's go back into my little test bed here. Instance the ambient occlusion that's doing that. Some really weird artifacting going on with that, but here nor there. Okay. Now on my player, I have the emote bubble, but the emote bubble isn't doing anything just yet aside from just kind of existing there. So I want the area to send an area entered. Well, I could do body entered and just use the static body instead. Static body into a group. I can test them both then. So on my emote bubble, I want to grab my area signals and I'm going to use body entered first. Connect that, and I'm also going to connect the body exited signal from the area node. So I'm going to check to see if body.is group. Then I want to activate emote question. Then I'm going to do the opposite here. And instead of doing activate emote question, I'm just going to make a new function to deactivate the emote. So then this is just going to do okay. I think that's enough for it to work. What's up? That's interesting. Doing that. Okay, so sprite.hide isn't enough, but why not? Oh, jeez, thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. It honestly would have taken me like another 2 or 3 minutes. See, I'm far from an expert. I am just banging rocks together and showing you guys the sparks they make. Okay, there we go. So be faster. That's not a big deal. All right. What do I want to look at next? Let's do some theme stuff here. So I have the graphics pack this came from here. I'm gonna grab some UI elements from it. I'm gonna use them to make some buttons. So I can use this as like a panel, or I could turn it into some buttons. In the overworld, no. There's font though. And that has this. So I'm gonna make this a panel. First thing I'm gonna do is just grab this whole thing. So we're going to be messing around a little bit with themes here. Copy this and make a new file. This is Sprite, if you guys have never seen this before. All right, so 32, so it's 48 in on each side, and you get a nice cut. And then it looks like it's 24 down maybe. So I'm gonna export this. Put it in assets folder, yeah. So I'm gonna call this panel background .png. Right, so there's that. Now I'm going to grab this too. This as well. Call this panel background to PNG. And I think there's one more. You can do this kind of bubbly one. Export this as so back to Godot. I want to grab these 3 pixel and re-import. Okay, so now I want to mess around with themes, and I haven't done very much with themes before. I was playing around with them last night. Kunal says GGWP. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. To create a new theme, I'm just gonna go to the inspector and create a new resource. And it's gonna be a theme resource. Edit this. Create an empty template. All right. So when you make like new buttons and stuff in Godot, good game, well played. Oh, thank you. When you make empty buttons and stuff in Godot, it uses Godot's blank default template, but you can change that template, which is something I didn't know about until relatively recently. And you can make it have whatever art you want. And that way when you make a new button, you just have to import that theme into it, and it'll take up all the qualities of the theme. So like the font, the size, the graphics, everything. So I'm going to use buttons, styles, and then for normal, I'm going to add a new texture. And to do that, I need to add a new style box. Flat. Oh, it must be style box texture. And this needs to know what the texture is somewhere. There it is, texture. So I'm going to give it this panel background. Whole thing, and then it's going to need to know the expand margin. I think the expand margin is one that I want. I think I want these all to be 16. Margin. Nope, it's the margin I want to change. Leave these at 0. Cool. So that makes it so that it's going to look nicer when we actually try to turn this into a button. I can change the modulate. Nice. So if it's normal, I'm going to leave it with this, but then save this as a resource as well. So I'm going to call this my div button style. So now if I want it to look the same under focus, I can load that resource back in. Cool. Hover, I'm going to go with something slightly different. So let's look at the hover one. Use the same. Margin be the same, but I'm going to change the color. Slightly different. Let's go with like a okay, and then normal and then pressed. Gonna get its own texture, margin. Might want to use the regions to minimize the stretch. That's what the 3x3 margins do. So you can kind of see how it automatically did that. It makes a 9 slice box. So this never stretches, this does, this never stretches, this does. Or am I misunderstanding what you're asking, or what you're saying? And then since this is pressed, go with like a dark gray like that. Okay. So I want to create a UI that's kind of separate here. This a call this player UI. Change this to be a canvas layer. I'm just going to add the button randomly. I'm not going to use the... Yeah, so that's why it took me a second to find it, because there's region when you're looking at the button style, but then there's also something else. It's region, save. Man, did I not save? I did all that work on my theme and I didn't save it. I'm gonna have to do it again. All right, well, before I go any further, template, I'm gonna save this. Okay, so I'm gonna call this pixel theme. All right. Well, at least now I know what I want to do really quickly. Style box, panel background, margin 16. Save. Oh no, oh, duh. I can actually just load because I did save the style box. And then for hover, use the same texture, margins. Modulate's going to be a little gray. I'm just totally just randomly picking colors here. And then let's do pressed. Save this before I go any further. It's that. Margins. And then again, just randomly choosing colors. Save that. Now if I go back to my button here, add in a theme. I choose that theme that I just made Yeah. So now any button I make with this theme, like that. Kinda cool. So menu there. Save this scene. Y folder. Oh. Should be here. Yep. I should also be able to interact with it. Obviously it didn't like being pressed and having nothing happen. But the hover worked. If I make it disabled, it goes back to normal. So I would have to change all of them if I wanted to be able to disable it. So let's see if I can switch that. If I go back into my pixel theme, disabled, style box texture, texture, margin. Bit super dark gray. Save this. Okay. So now I can do the same thing with panels. So under panel styles, I'm gonna make a new style box texture. And for this one, I'm gonna use this other texture. It's not gonna end up looking as nice because of the bubbles, but see how it kind of stretches that. I could go with third option, this one. That looks kind of nice. All right, let's save our theme here. Add a little bit of UI scripting. Make a new script. We'll connect the buttons pressed to that UI script. Child node, type panel. It's kind of in the middle screen here. Again, it would be better if I used container nodes for these, so that then they actually have some kind of rhyme or reason to them. I'm just like I randomly chose colors, I'm just randomly placing them on the screen. That looks really nice. Pixel art's a little bit weird when you compare the corners to here. That actually looks really nice, I think. So, alright. Panel is going to be off by default. We'll make a reference to the panel. Call it panel. Hide it. Back to the test bed. Disabled still, I think. So let's actually, we'll make a variable here. We'll do active, false, and menu active. Not menu active. scene panel hide. All right, cool. So back here. That hover stuff doesn't work more than once though, that's weird. Okay. I think we're gonna finish up here. Do you guys have any last minute questions or anything you wanna talk about? You wanna ask? I was just kind of messing around today. When I finally figure out how to make that animation tree work, I might make a video on it. Hey Wagner. Andrea, the next stream is going to be next Friday at this time. I plan for the summer to be streaming on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. I will watch the video you found. So yeah, going next stream, I don't know if it's going to be a Godot stream or if it's going to be a Unity stream. But that's my basic plan, is to do one stream a week, and then I'll have a video probably every other day. I have a video that's coming out tomorrow on Godot. You guys will get to see that. So right now we're getting ready to go. Anybody have any last questions? I'm interested in Godot. I know, I like Godot too. I think it's pretty awesome. It's just that there's a few things, and I don't know if it's that Godot does those things strangely, or if it's that I'm so gaslighted by Unity that I'm used to the strange versions. So just kind of making sure that my mind's completely over, or completely in Godot mindset and not in Unity mindset is the thing. Do you do your own artwork? For the most part, these are not my artwork though. The match 3 artwork, that's all mine. Well, not all mine. I think I did some Kenny artwork in there. This isn't mine. This is from somebody who you can find on Open Game Art. Let me actually find that link really quickly, and then that way I can put that in the description. It's GFX is the username, I think. No, GFX is what it downloads as. The username is ARM1988, if I remember correctly. It used to be the first one that came up if you search. There it is. Yeah, ARM1998. So this person made this tile set and all of this art. So let me actually grab a link to this and I'll put it in the description. Alright, so let's put it before I even put my website. To the artwork used in the stream. It's CC0 though, which means you can use it in personal or professional projects. Let's save that. Yeah, CC0. And I think the only thing this person did is this one, and then they made a Game Boy version of it, which is pretty darn cool. Game Boy one looks like. Oh, so it's not, it's just the environment, just the world environment they did. I like the look of those chests though. So it looks like their style, yeah, this is a different house too. It looks like their style kind of advanced a bit between the two. All right, any last minute questions? Comments? Things you guys want to see in the future? I've been out of my classroom too long. speaking for 2 hours makes my throat dry. I don't know how it's going to be in August when I have to go back. Yeah, no worries, man. Multiplayer games, that's honestly a blind spot for me. I know how to basically set up some multiplayer network functionality in Unity. I've never done it in Godot, but I know that they have a multiplayer Bomberman in the asset library, I think, that I meant to at some point go through and kind of figure out how it works. So I think they do anyway. For directional animation. But I mean, there is a multiplayer template. Thank you, Andrea. I think it's the multiplayer Bomberman. No, simple 3D multiplayer. Okay. It must be on their GitHub, because the asset library here is different from if you quit the project list and go to the templates, it might be in here. Yeah, so simple 3D multiplayer space game, multiplayer FPS. So you can kind of go through one of these and check it out. I haven't had a chance to, so it's really kind of this multiplayer bomber demo. This was made, I think, by Ariel Mansour, who's one of the co-founders. Multiplayer dungeon crawler. Oh no, it's that. Bomberman. Multiplayer API, not necessarily the best implementation. No, I think it is this one that's Ariel's. Multi-touch, So there's a lot of stuff in the projects, and then there's also some stuff in the asset library. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate everybody who stopped by for the stream. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, I have my link right there, Taff Creates. I have a Patreon. I'm not currently active on Patreon. I'm not charging anybody anything right now, and I will warn everybody if I turn it back on. And I got a website, and if you want to do a one-time donation, you can go to my Ko-Fi link. Or I think it's supposed to be coffee because it's a coffee cup, but in no way is KO-FI pronounced coffee in English, so that's kind of weird. All right, everybody have a great day, and I will see you guys soon.